wish to experience everything beginning in God. And we recognize that reality, which is out of form, takes form and manifests as compassion and mercy.
First, I'd like to say I'm so happy to have this opportunity to share some of my feelings and thoughts and memories and hopes for the future. I'm a disciple of a Sufi master named Murshid Samuel Lewis. He was a disciple of an illustrious Sufi master who brought Sufism from India to the Western world for the first time in 1910, Pir Shabda Kahn. Murshid Samuel Lewis, born in San Francisco, raised in a Jewish family, took an interest in spirituality in the 1920s, then took an interest in Zen and studied Sufism and Zen side by side. When I met him, he had already studied not only those two paths, but the Hindu path under Papa Ramdas or Swami Ramdas, a beautiful awakened Hindu yogi. I studied the Christian mysteries, Kabbalah. I met him in 1969. I'd been studying with Baba Ramdas, formerly Richard Alpert. I'd spent a summer with him in community, been on silence and meditated and yoga and very pure and dressed in white. I'd met the Dances of Universal Peace at a camp that I went to, invited by Pir Shabda Kahn, the son of Hazrat Anahata Khan. When I met the dances, I was so deeply attracted, and Murshid Wali Ali, who I'd become friends with at the camp, said, "Why don't you come out and meet Murshid Sam, my teacher?" And I came out and met him and never left. I grew up with music. When I was 13, I started playing guitar, and when I became a yogi, in my concept, not a real yogi, I put the guitar away. I thought, I'm going to leave the world behind, left music behind. And then when I came to Murshid Sam and the dances, luckily I had tried to give everything away, and I even tried to sell my precious guitar, but it hadn't sold. And I still had it, and out it came, and I became a guitarist and a drummer for Murshid Sam and for the dances. And I was very fortunate. While I was still with him, while he was alive, I had to go back to the East Coast. My father had a hip operation. And while I was in the East Coast, a letter came in the mail from Murshid. "I'm going to be coming to the East Coast for 5 weeks, traveling New York and Boston. Do you have time, and would you be able to be my assistant?" I was thrilled. We traveled for 5 weeks. I drummed, played guitar for his meetings, and supported him in the dance, and received all those blessings of that daily company with him. We came back from the East Coast in the fall of 1970, and then in his classes to us, he started teaching from Hazrat Anahata Khan's text, Akibat, Life After Death, and his commentaries, Akibayat. And he stressed again and again the connection between the teacher and the disciple is in no way dependent on one or the other being in the body. And then, so much to our surprise, in December 28th, it was a Monday morning, he fell down some stairs, got a concussion, went into the hospital, and even then, I think almost all of us thought he would come back, and he was so healthy and so alive, but he passed January 15th, 1971. That lesson that he'd given was so strongly rooted in my heart that somehow there was the loss of the physical teacher, but the connection seemed ever present. And now we're in 2005, almost 35 years later. And if anything, the connection grows stronger and stronger every day. feeling his guidance, feeling Hazrat Anayat Khan's guidance. Hazrat Anayat Khan wisely taught us there is one teacher, the guiding spirit of all souls, who constantly leads all followers to the light. In other words, all guidance is the voice of that spirit of guidance, of the eternal, all-pervading reality. And so as one feels guidance from one's teacher and one's teachers, really you feel it coming from one source. It was the summer of 1969, and there was 35 people. At least 20 of them were Murshid Sam's disciples. And the dances had just been born. Maybe they were 6 months, 8 months, a year old. And at first sight, seeing, this was 1969. It was a time of great awakening, of the blooming of love. Those of us who were young somehow had a shift. We weren't interested in power. We were interested in love. We wanted to awaken friendship and love and kindness, and we didn't know how, but we knew that's what was calling us. And here you see these dances and people holding hands in a circle and singing, and everyone looked so beautiful. It was overwhelming. It was so lovely. It was like, I was like a moth to the flame. And it really is what attracted me to come out to San Francisco and meet the founder of these dances. And so in some ways they were very instrumental in bringing me to Murshid Sam Lewis. Now I also experienced them in the context of someone who, at that age, whatever I was, 20 or 21, I knew at that time that my life was dedicated to awakening. Now, I was very confused what awakening was. I thought you had to be a yogi, you should have no possessions, you go into a cave and you sit there and then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're enlightened. So it seems to be taking a little longer than I thought. But so I understood that the dance was in the context of a path of awakening, a path of friendship. I saw them, at that time there were 10 dances, 15 dances. Then Murshid Sam died, and now the dances were entrusted to us. And now we those of us who were carrying it forward, the few of us who were teaching the dance, created a small dance manual with the 15 dances we could remember, or the 30, or whatever there were. And then new people came who hadn't even met Sam, and they became interested in the dance, and now new dances were coming. Now Murshid Sadi came, and he became an enormous contributor to the dance, and at a certain point he felt the guidance to create a center for the dance so that the dance could be available to the world without it having to be in the Sufi context. And Murshid had said to us many times that these dances were for the world and they would spread throughout the world, and that he would become exponentially famous because at the time, 150 of us knew him. And so as extraordinary as it is today that the dances are in 50 countries, and when I say they're in a country, if you say they're in America, it means there maybe there's hundreds of dance circles in America, not one. We're not surprised. My teacher said that to me. That's what he said would happen. And I listened, and somehow I felt he was correct. So the dances now have spread all over the world, different languages, different cultures. They are such a terrific vehicle. The feeling, if you stand in a circle and you simply hold hands with the people next to you, and you feel what that's like, that in itself is such a revelation. The sympathy and friendship that you feel in a community of people bringing rhythm and music and feeling together. Invoking the wisdom of the mystics of the past, using the sacred languages that have been brought through. Sacred language really is a sense that sound has effect apart from meaning. By chanting these sacred sounds, what their meaning is evoked in your heart. if the sound means opening, then opening happens. It's not a mental concept. And so it's just like if you try to lift up a rock by yourself, you may not be able to do it, or a big boulder, but enough people you can lift, you have a lot of power. And so this is true in the realm of feeling, in the realm of thought. These dance circles are such beautiful vehicles of sympathy, of empowerment, of strength, of blessing, and of healing. I have the opportunity of traveling literally all over the world to share the message of love, harmony, and beauty. And I feel so blessed that I have the dances of universal peace as a vehicle to help me to do that. Literally, every place I go, I'm there with my guitar. Before I start teaching with my mouth, everybody hold hands, form a circle, let's chant and sing. So we chant and sing for an hour or 45 minutes. Now the minds are quiet, a sense of community and friendship has developed. Now we can sit down, and now when I speak, I feel so much more ease for this message to be received. And so I feel so thankful to have these dances as a way of bringing community, bringing family, bringing rhythm and empowerment into people's lives. You know, I ask myself, what are my hopes for my spiritual community, for this rich river of blessing and lineage that we find ourselves in? On the one hand, it has touched me so deeply and helped me, even in the stage I'm on, to really enjoy life, to feel a sense of fullness, to have the experience of life not be based on the circumstances that I find myself in, but find a river of inner joy and peacefulness which supports whatever is arising. So if I can communicate that to others and deepen that in myself, that would be wonderful. But what I really hope for our lineage is that many people can bloom into really extraordinary realization, that they can become the proof of the lineage, that the lineage from generation to generation will not just be someone telling, oh, my teacher had these experiences. Well, my teacher had them, I'm having them, I'm offering them to you. I wish them to happen for you, so that in every generation the message continues to live fully, so it isn't just a historical memory of something great that happened a generation before. So I think that's my greatest wish for this lineage, that it continues to live, to be alive, to serve people, and to bring beauty and happiness into the world. My wish is that everyone find the way into their heart, into the depth of their heart, into their true nature. It's my feeling that the essence of you and essence of everything is the same. What is the life in our being is the all-pervading reality, unconditional love, what we call God, what we call the Dharmakaya. Essence of you, essence of everything is the same. My prayer is that we all awaken to that.